Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5, and someone reminded me that apparently I have not reviewed the Mean Gene Hot Tamale coin purse. And I think I've made a couple videos on this. I know I've at least filmed one video talking about the use of it with my bob bag. I don't know if I failed to upload it or not, but hopefully I'll touch on some of that subject matter in this video. But yes, this is a coin purse that you wear on your belt behind your hip around the 5 o'clock area. And this is a coin purse. It has a zipper right here. And you put your coins in there. I think it'll hold about $10 worth of quarters. And for those of you who haven't caught on to it yet, this is kind of a pocket sap. Not a pocket sap. A pocket sap. You can put it in your pocket. And this is kind of the gray area for legality, because there's nothing saying that you can't have a coin purse, and there's nothing saying that you can't use a coin purse to defend yourself. But in certain jurisdictions, a sap is illegal, and anything that is modified to be used as a sap can be illegal. It can be an illegal weapon, and it can get you in trouble. And around the time period that I got this, saps were illegal in Texas. So I was kind of riding a gray line there. And the person who makes these recommended putting different denominations of coins in there. Pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters. Well, I didn't do that because 99% of the vending machines that I use strictly use quarters. And there's some that use bills and there's some that use credit cards, but in general all vending machines will use quarters, but not all vending machines will take dimes, pennies, or anything like that. So I chose to keep only quarters in here because they're the most convenient coin to keep on you at all times. Now, I didn't carry this on a real regular basis, because by the time I got this, I was carrying knives, and knives are pretty much largely legal. You can't modify a knife to make it illegal unless you make it double-edged, and even double-edged knives in Texas were legal around the time that I had this. So I could carry 5.5-inch folding knives, I can carry fixed blades, I can carry knives that have double quillions, switchblades, Bowie knives, swords are now legal. And now brass knuckles, tomahawks, saps, blackjacks, akashas, all of those things that this category represents are now legal in Texas. So I can legally carry this. So why do I not carry it? Well, there's a few issues. One, where I would carry this, I usually carry a gun. Now, I've carried this in places where I couldn't legally carry a gun, but I was largely just using this as a coin purse. If something really bad happened, I would much rather use pepper spray or a knife. Although the person I'm using this against would probably prefer me to use this than a knife. But this has some issues. And first off, let's talk about the first potential issue. It's actually kind of difficult to clip. Like if you take this off to use it as a coin purse and then you put it back on your belt, where I carry this and where it's the most convenient place to carry this, it's not the easiest thing to clip. Also, if you try pulling on it like this, you'll break it. This snap is meant to be pulled back to unsnap. And when my brother got this for me for either Christmas or birthday, he didn't know this, so he pulled on it, and although it let loose right there, probably because I didn't have it snapped good enough, he tried pulling on it right here, and he actually broke the snap. And he had to call the company and get a replacement. And, he had to send the old one back and get this one for my birthday or Christmas, whatever it was. But just remember, when you get this sap, and they have different versions now. I think they have a mini, they have a version 2, and they got a sloppy seconds, which is like their, flawed ones. But just remember, don't pull on it straight. You have to, bend this back like that and peel it back, which is easy to do and draw and get into action. But just remember that. Now, I remember filming a video with my bob bag, and I was so excited to actually have a striking surface to hit this on. I've hit coconuts with this because I thought to myself, well, these are illegal to carry at that time, and so there must be a reason why it's illegal to carry. So I thought it might be able to break a coconut, and it couldn't, which is, I guess, a good and a bad thing, because one is like, why are these illegal if they can't break a coconut? But also, it's meant to be a less lethal weapon, so you don't really want it breaking a coconut. But you really don't want to hold it like this. It doesn't present the striking surface that well. But if you hold it with the bend facing this direction, not only does it give you a better striking surface, but it's less likely to wrap around and hit you in the back of the hand. And this is something we found out with the bob bag, that especially holding it like this and hitting, it'll come back around and hit the back of your hand, and it was pretty painful. This mitigated that to a certain extent, but it could still come back and hit you. We found that a backhand actually prevented the recoil from coming back and hitting you, and it was less likely to hit you in the front of the fist if you backhanded the punching bag. So that's something to keep in mind. It's more natural to draw this out and hit like that, which is, I guess, good in a sense because it's presenting that striking surface a little bit better. But it still had the ability to come back and slap the back of your hand. It was not fun. I doubt it'll make you drop the sap or coin purse, whatever terminology you want to use, in the middle of a bad situation. But in general, you don't want your self-defense weapon hurting you while it's in use against an opponent. So weapons should hurt the opponent, not the person using them. And it's not a bad product, but I'm just kind of curious if it's a practical product. When I had this filled up to the brim with quarters, before you get to a certain level, or before you empty this out to a certain bit, it's kind of difficult to get the coin out. And so when you get it filled all the way up, it's a little bit stiff, and you can't really get the coin out that easily, or coins. And then when you empty it a little bit, it's easier to get the coins out. But then again, you don't have your load that you want. This thing is painful. I'm a little bit disappointed that you can't really hold it down here and do thrust with it because it'll bend. But that's just part of its design, because some saps you can actually strike with it like that. Also, if you needed to, you can hit with the edges. But I think the most practical and best way is to hit with the flat that's presenting itself. I think that's the most time efficient way of doing it, and with little skill you can hit someone with this in specific areas and hopefully get them to stop doing what they're going to do to you. But again, this is kind of a gray area for not only places where these are illegal, but if you carry this into certain locations, even though it's illegal in your state, it might not be legal for you to carry in the specific location that you're at. This would be really cool to carry into a 51% location, but I don't know the legality behind that. Sometimes there's a difference between policies and laws. So I can legally carry a knife in a 51% location. It can't be over 5.5 inches, but I can carry a knife in a 51% location within that size restraint. But this, I'm not so sure. And if someone recognizes it as a sap, they might not let you get into that location. So that's just something to keep in mind. I can legally carry a knife into a bar. I can legally carry a locking knife into a bar. I can legally carry a fixed blade into a bar. But once it gets, past 5.5 inches, I can't legally do it, and it's a felony. And then there were some bars that just have a policy that you can't carry anything like this in there. So it just depends on what kind of envelope you want to push. If you want to risk being stopped in the door and told to go back to your vehicle and put it up, and and then if you bring something like this and they recognize it as a weapon, they might not be so eager to let you come back after they send you away. They might not trust you. Anyways, this is a functioning coin purse, and it is a functioning sap. And I think if you get someone on the right place on the head and neck, you can stop an encounter. But saps in general are not very practical. And most people don't need to bring $10 worth of quarters with them at any given location. Now, if you're going to be a security guard at an arcade, this might be a good tool for you. But I think for most places, for most situations, you'll be better off carrying pepper spray and a knife, or pepper spray and a gun, and a knife, a flashlight. This just doesn't seem to be the most practical tool for the job of for self-defense. Now, I have never been strict. I've hit myself on the leg, and I've hit myself on the arm and hand and stuff. I've never been hit in the face with one of these, or the neck, so it might do a really good job at what it's claiming to do, but I just don't know. I do know that saps and blackjacks were really popular with police officers back in the day because they're less lethal. You can actually wear this in your back pocket, and when you sit down in your cruiser, police vehicle, it conforms to your body, and it's not rigid, and it's very comfortable. But saps and blackjacks are not as defensive as claps and batons and nightsticks. And I forget the Okinawan word for the classic nightstick that we know about, or we know and love. So saps are cool because they're comfortable, but I don't think they were as defensively effective as a rigid stick. And I'm not entirely sure their effectiveness of knocking someone out, because I've never experienced it, and I'm not really keen on finding out for myself. But we all know the effectiveness of knives and the practicality of knives. We all know the effectiveness of guns, flashlights, pepper sprays. These things we know. And the cool thing about knives is that they're not only defensive and offensive, but they're practical. If you come across a wrecked vehicle, you can cut someone's seatbelt. You can cut up your food. So this thing has other purposes. And I'm not trying to tell you that this is a tactile knife. It just happens to be the knife in my pocket. But I've already put my tactile knife away for the moment. And anyways, the point is that it's pretty obvious what you can use this for other than violent situations. But if you walk around with this and people know what a sap is, the old school people know what a sap is, and you're going into a bar that has no vending machines in it because it's all alcohol, you have a bar top and draft and shots and stuff like that, it's an alcohol location, you can't really justify carrying $10 worth of quarters with you. So that's something to keep in mind. So that's it. That's the video. I think it's well made. I think it does as advertised, but I think you can get a better tool for the job, in my opinion. So that's it. I'm Asatsu5, and I'm out.